And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Jason Hebert Live. If you are new to the channel, what we do here is we interview the loved ones of missing persons and unsolved crimes in an effort to help spread awareness and try to hopefully bring justice to these families and try to help bring some people home. Tonight, we have another missing persons interview for you. We have the case of Chris Carver. So Alex is going to go over that, but Chris's legal name is Michael. He'll go over the details, but he does go by Chris. And Alex does want to stress that, Chris is his name. That's what he goes by. We just want to make sure that if you go to search the case that you can find it, because I found some things under Michael Carver that I didn't find under Chris Carver. So Alex will go into the particulars of that. But if you're not familiar with the channel here, we are a little different than other channels on this type of platform, whereas we are interactive. Instead of us kind of reading news stories and giving a third-hand account of it, what we do instead is we go directly to the horse's mouth. We get you guys the stories right from the people who are dealing with them. We bring the families on, or sometimes it's the best friend, or occasionally it's an advocate. And our show is interactive. As you see, we have a chat there. So maybe it's a case you've been following for years and you've always had certain questions that you wanted to ask, or maybe it's a case that you're just hearing about and questions are flooding in as you learn the details. But either way, you can ask any questions that you like in the chat. We can't always get to all of them, but we try to get to as many as possible. And so if you're into that and trying to help these families that desperately need your help, please click subscribe below and set the notification bell to all, and YouTube will notify you every time we are about to go live. Quickly, before we get started, I do want sorry, guys. I don't know if you gave out the link. We have someone named Missy trying to come on, Alex. I don't know. Did you? Hey, sorry, I can't hear you, Alex. We'll get to that in a moment. Okay, she left. I'm guessing maybe the link got sent out. But Missy, if you're listening, it looks like you went to the StreamYard link. If you're just trying to watch the show, it's best to go to the YouTube link. It's not a big deal either way, but that's the best one to watch the show from. Sorry, guys. So give me 1 second here. I'm a little thrown off today, guys. Sorry that a little bit of a messy start here. It's been a heck of a day. So a lot of you guys know. Give me one. Where is the link? I'm so sorry. Okay. Give me 1 second. Just give me a second here, guys. Okay, here's Tabitha. So a lot of you guys know Tabitha Maddox. She is a longtime supporter of the channel. And, she's in all of our live streams. She's always helping with the cases, participating in the chats. Well, Tabitha is going through a heck of a situation. Thanks to Annie Ferguson, who helped set this up for her. This GoFundMe is for Tabitha. Because of a doctor's mistake, she has had to have her leg amputated. So I'm gonna quickly read the first couple paragraphs of this, and then the link is in the description below for you guys to click if you want to read the whole story. But Tabitha's been fighting with her right lower leg and foot for a long while. She's had 6 surgeries, and with the last one, the doctor let her know that she now has a rare bone infection called osteomyelitis. This infection, if not corrected, can be fatal. So with the information in hand, Tabitha realizes she has no choice. The specialist wants to immediately amputate her lower leg, but she's not really emotionally ready to handle this news and begs them to give her some time. So they gave her a month longer. Unfortunately, that month ended 3 days ago. As of June 8th, she did have her leg amputated. So this GoFundMe was started by Annie to help Tabitha out. Obviously, things change drastically when you have an operation like this. She's not going to be able to work for, I believe, upwards of a year, as well as just, learning to walk again and everything that comes with something like this. And no fault of her own. It was all a doctor's mistake. So if you would like to support her, the link is in the description. All relevant links will be in the description as well. So that link, as well as everything, how to contact tonight's guest, and any information as far as how to contact me, everything will be in the description below. You just have to expand it. So please consider helping out Tabitha. I have no part in the GoFundMe at all, guys, nor does Annie. Annie just helped her set it up. Everything goes right to Tabitha. So thank you to anybody who would like to support her and, extremely horrible situation. So again, sorry guys, we got started last minute here. That's why I'm a little frazzled and I don't have my links ready and everything. But I'm going to read a quick little report about Chris just to give you guys some basics on the case before we bring on his brother. I try not to go too much into detail before we bring the guest on because, of course, we want the majority of the information to come directly from them. They can tell the story a lot better than I can. But I don't want you guys to go into a cold. So I'm just going to read quickly this article from WBKO. This was written March 22nd, so a few months ago, 3-4 months ago. Bowling Green, Kentucky. A Bowling Green man who hasn't been seen for 4 months has been added to the National Missing Persons List. The brother of Michael Carver, again, Chris Carver, contacted police recently to notify them regarding the unknown whereabouts of his brother, a report states. According to the report, Carver had been struggling with homelessness and had a campsite set up in the area of Louisville Road and 31 West Bypass under the bridge. While Carver had not seen his brother since June 2020, he would occasionally hear from him through Facebook Messenger. However, his brother did not hear from him for a while, so following his concerns, he visited multiple homeless organizations and areas to inquire about him. Many stated they were familiar with him but had not seen him recently. The most recent time anyone has seen Chris was reportedly near the end of November at a church that was part of Room in the Inn. So Alex will be going over all the details about where his brother was staying and exactly what the program was. So let's bring on Alex. Alex, hey man, sorry for that jumbled up intro. I just want to say I'm so sorry for what you're going through, and thank you, for having the strength to come on today and help out your brother. I admire it greatly. It's totally different sitting in this seat versus sitting where you are. So just know you're not alone. You have people that want to help you and care about bringing him home.
Oh, I genuinely really appreciate that. Thank you. It does mean a lot, and I've just tried to let as many people as I can, over the past few months that I appreciate all the support from all the different people. Hi there, everyone. Hi there. I see all the comments coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Chris, I got really worried back in February because I hadn't heard from him in a while, and it really just started out with me just trying to do just to check on him. Like I just asked the cops, like, hey, can you just do a welfare check on Chris? Do you know where he's at? Because I wasn't able to locate him. And yeah, there's a good picture of Chris. Chris is a really sweet, awesome, amazing person. And life, it isn't easy for everyone. It doesn't treat everyone the same, right? So we all have to go through our own struggles and our own journey. And I think Chris is doing that his way. And I hate that he's missing. I miss him. I want to know that he's okay. And I'm saying he. Something important to really know about Chris is transgender. Identifies as Chris or Chrissy,
I see it. Okay, so that was probably part of why you were saying.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so just out of respect for Chris, that just to be clear on that, I just tried to address Chris as my sibling, as whoever Chris is at the time. That's how I talked to him, and that's how I kind of grew to understand that Chris taught me a lot. Having a brother who's transgender taught me a lot about the entire LGBTQ community, about who people are and what makes them who they are.
Absolutely.
And Chris is a very complex person. He's a beautiful person, and so that's why we're all really missing him. We're trying to figure out where he is.
Absolutely. So by the way, I have a sister who is also transgender, went the opposite way from female to male. So I completely understand. And it was fairly recently, so I understand the whole process, absolutely. And you're right, it helps you learn a lot for sure. And just see people, helps you see things, I don't know, I think in a better way.
Absolutely.
Be more tolerant, things like that. So is it more appropriate to say her? I know there are a lot of different, I'm still learning the rules myself as I go through it.
The most polite way that I know to go about this is to literally address the person as they are dressed in the moment. So if Chris was like, dressed up, that I would of course try to refer to Chris as she, and I try to respect that. And I think I may fumble a little bit, but I do try to be as correct with my phrasing as possible. Of course, out of respect for Chris as a person.
Absolutely. Thank you for telling us. That way we know if you go back and forth, we'll know you're speaking about the same
Yeah,
person, of
yeah,
course.
yes, of course, and I understand that whole conversation for sure.
Awesome.
Um, oh, I see you, Will. Yeah, that's my brother. We do love Chris. We do miss you, Chris. There's a lot of people a lot of people who've been following the post about Chris. I just to be clear, I made the post and I pinned it to the top of my Facebook page, and it just has any relevant information. If there's any updated information, if there's anything relevant, I put it there. Like this interview, for example, and um, something that I believe I kind of struggled with at first. So which is another reason I'm very proud to be in this moment. Is because at first I was having a hard time creating awareness about Chris. Um, I think that there's a lot of very complex sociological factors that go into why people are wherever they are in life, right?
Sure.
And I think that for Chris, he was where he was at, and you know, I didn't like where he was at. Unfortunately, Chris was struggling with homelessness. He has been struggling with homelessness for several years now. He actually had a place of his own, and he just didn't have enough money for the electric, and so it was off. And he had a candle lit, and he
Yeah.
knocked it over, and he woke up with his bed on fire. So,
Oh,
and he survived that. So
uh,
in my mind, I like to think that, well, if things like this can happen and can be okay, then he should still be okay. Chris, to answer that question right there, I'm sorry, I'll try to pay better attention to the comments.
oh, don't worry about it. Actually, the best way is because some people just listen, they're driving and they're not watching. So what
Right,
I'll do is I'll put it on screen and I'll read it aloud just so they know the question, and then you can. That's the best way to do it, just so people who aren't watching know what was asked. So,
absolutely.
little Pookie asks, "How old is Chris?"
Chris is 32. His birthday is May 4th. He just turned 32, actually, this past May.
Okay, cool.
Just to answer that question.
So this is a little tricky, right? Because you weren't in like every single day contact to where you can say like, here's what happened Tuesday, here's what happened Wednesday, then he was missing Thursday. It's kind
Yeah.
of up in the air. But
Well, just I'll try to piece that together a little bit. And this is the best This is my attempt at putting together some sort of a timeline for Chris. I know that up until November 26th, people knew where he was. I can't remember if he stayed the night of the 25th or the 26th at Room of the Inn. I believe it was the 25th or 26th. Oh, thank you. You're beautiful too. Whoever. Hi there. But you know, with Chris, I know that he was there. I don't know where he went the next morning per se. I know that Chris didn't at the time have anywhere, that he didn't have an address, he didn't have a place he was staying. And like I said, after the fire, when he lost his apartment, he kind of struggled with getting that back, and I think he was trying to get that back the best he could. But um, let me see here. I I noticed that Chris was not responsive on Messenger around Christmas time, but I just thought he was doing whatever he was doing. But it got to be about February, and I tried to reach out to Chris, like, hey, are you all right? Like, what's going on? Um, and I got no answer. And it was actually on Valentine's Day. And I thought of it because my girlfriend and I had dinner with Chris last June with my aunt and our dad, right? And we had a really nice dinner. We had a really nice time. This is the first time we got to do that in a while, and I was just trying to show Chris that, Chris, you're loved, you're wanted, you're important. Try to, hey, he sort of started checking out on me a little bit, just in terms of like having consistent contact. There wasn't a lot of consistency to the contact. I guess that's just who Chris was as a person. He is like a wildflower. I guess that's a good description for Chris. But once I did not have any contact with him, I tried to contact the police department, and at first I was actually told like it didn't meet the criteria for a missing persons report.
Why with it?
And the reason, as I understood it, was because they said, well, because Chris is homeless and because you do not have daily interaction with Chris, that you can't speak to whether or not he's missing. And I said, well, look, I understand that to a point, but I mean, Chris was not communicating with me. So I know there's a problem because, social media is Chris's main form of communication. He hadn't had a phone in a while, so he just uses Wi-Fi.
That was going to be my next question. He didn't have a phone at all?
Yeah, like social media, like on his phone, that is the main way Chris could even communicate to anyone. So for me to not see him be active at all since the end of November, since late November, is striking to me. He has a Facebook and an Instagram account. He, at times he would have like multiple posts a day.
So you said he didn't have a phone, or he did?
He had a phone, but it didn't have service. Like he was just using Wi-Fi.
Oh, right.
Whenever he could. I believe that is literally how he was able to communicate with his friends, with any important contacts he needed to. I'm sure that's how he was able to navigate most of that. And he has not been active on either of those accounts.
And he would get to like a coffee shop and use the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, sure. Like, yeah, he might go to McDonald's. He might go to a coffee shop, just wherever the free public Wi-Fi is. And I'm sure that's what he was using, or maybe a friend's house or something. But, so I had to spend about a month after trying to make the initial report, meeting a lot of people in the community that know Chris, that have worked with him, more closely over the past few years. And, I was really struck and impressed with the impact that Chris has on people. They know once you meet Chrissy, you never forget.
Yeah.
Chris is one of those people.
Full of life, kind of. He has that.
Oh yeah,
has that look to him. It seems
Chris. I'm sure Chris had more life in one day than a lot of people care to have in a year. I'm sure. I used to joke and say that he was feral because he's just, because he just does what he wants. Right. But took about a month. Spoke to a lot of people that he worked with or talked to, in the community, and because I tried to make double sure that, like, okay, well, if they're thinking I cannot confirm the disappearance of my brother, then surely, other people who work with outreach programs like Salvation Army, I went to as many places as I could. A lot of churches that do, they'll feed the homeless. There's individuals in the community that would feed the homeless or bring the homeless things they need, right? So it's through those people I was able to really establish that, hey, where Chris has not been seen, and he has not been seen for a while. And I see this question at the bottom. The last time that I actually physically saw Chris was last June. I had dinner with him. Like I said, I had dinner together. It was like sort of like a small family get together. My aunt's husband was in the hospital. She was here. So I gathered everyone up, and it's funny because on the way to the restaurant, I just randomly saw Chris on the side of the road, and I picked him up. Like that's how familiar he was in that area. Like down there at the intersection of 31W and Louisville Road under that bridge area, because I know there was a place where homeless people camp. And I literally drove by that corner and found him one day. Mm-hmm. So like, I know that's where he was. That's where he was hanging out. Right. And I just don't know where he would go. I'm not saying it's impossible for Chris to go somewhere else. I just don't know where he would go. So that's what we're here trying to figure out is, did he hop a train? Did he go to another city? I just keep trying to tell everyone I really don't know more. I wish I knew more than I did, for sure. But I would just encourage anyone, if you see Chris, if you encounter Chris, just try to maybe at least say, hey, your brother's looking for you. Hey, there's like a whole community of people looking for you. You might want to check in.
And this is in Bowling Green, Kentucky, right?
Yes, Bowling. Yes, sir, Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I think Chris spent a lot of time down in that area. I know that there's, homeless people in that area, and I'm sure that he got familiar with a lot of people. So I'm hoping that in seeing this and spreading the word, I'm hoping people in the local community might want to come forward. I've been trying to like really encourage everyone, like, hey, even if you feel like you have irrelevant information, please come to me. I want to hear it. I'll hear you out. Like I'm very open to whatever anyone might want to contribute if you have any idea at all.
Well, the good thing about social media nowadays is most cities, like I'm sure there are Facebook pages for Bowling Green, like swap meet, Bowling Green, bowling alley. Yeah, Bowling Green. So you can go into any of those places where they're going to be local people and just say, hey, I'm sorry if this is off topic, but I'm just trying to get local people. And we can start putting this interview anywhere where there might be local people. And did you say you have kind of went around the whole homeless community?
Yeah, I spoke to I can't remember her name or anything offhand, but I spoke to people of the Salvation Army. I've spoke to people who administrate the Room in the Inn program. They were very familiar with Chris. So like when he went there that night in November, I guess around Thanksgiving, that's probably when it was. When you go in, you got to sign in. They get some basic information from you. So I mean, he's documented. He's documented as being there.
How long? He was there out till right about when he went missing, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there is no heads or tails of Chris as far as I can tell, after November 26th. Like the most recent thing anyone told me is like on that date, he texted one of my aunts, one of our aunts, and told her happy birthday. So like, I know he was on the phone that day, like the day of the 26th.
And let me ask you, did the program end and then he kind of just disappeared, or did he have the ability to still live there in this?
No, I believe and please, if anyone knows different, correct me if I'm wrong. As I understand it, with a program like Room in the Inn, I believe it's more like first come, first serve. I believe that you register probably for a room, and as long as you keep coming back regularly day after day, you get to keep your room. I'm sure that if you stop coming back, that maybe you forfeit your room or your bed. Maybe it works like that. So I couldn't foresee Chris not coming back in the middle of winter.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was asking, because it's kind of a whole different story if he had the ability to still live there. Have you tried contacting them to see if he had any conversation with anyone there saying, hey, I might be leaving soon, or did he just not show up? Have you seen how that is?
I have spoken with, like I said, I spoke with people who were like, I guess like administrators of that program here in town. People and they are also very familiar with Chris. Like he has stayed with Room at the Inn lots of times.
Okay.
Yes, to answer that question, I have most certainly called the Bowling Green Police Department. Yes, sir. Definitely one of the first things that I tried to do. I was actually surprised at how long-winded that was of a process that was at first. I mean, after I was able to provide the police department with more concrete information, they were able to proceed forth, and that's still ongoing.
Okay.
As for now, just to answer that man's question.
It's a female, just so you know, no biggie.
Or excuse me.
No, easy mistake with the name. Yeah.
Sorry, I've got ADD, so reading, talking, right?
No, well, it's a Navy vet, so an easy mistake to make.
Right.
But so you said you talked to an administrator in the program, and what did they say?
Just that they were familiar with Chris. That I mean, if he had been staying, he would have signed in.
Okay.
I know that information. Obviously, the police have that information, so I mean, I'm sure they understand that. I honestly wish I could say I had more concrete information other than that. Like I haven't learned as much as I'd like to. I've had a lot of interesting conversations with people. I've had a lot of people say this or that, but in terms of verifiable information, I'm still sort of weaving through that. Still sort of wading through all that. And it's really surprising.
Okay. Have you tried? I know his phone wasn't active, but have you tried to look into tracing his phone to see whereabouts he at least last had it
I
on?
thought about that, and I just I don't know exactly how one would do that, but I did mention it to the police. I mean, and as far as I know, maybe they're pursuing that information. As I have no idea really. I'd
Okay.
like to think they are.
Yeah, that would be really important. Now, does anyone in the chat? Because we go through this on almost every interview. That's a question that comes up. Does anyone in the chat actually know how to go about doing that? Is that something Alex can do on his own, or do you have to go to law enforcement? Does someone have any information on that? We'd like to know that, because that can only help, right?
Right.
Even if he hasn't turned it
Yeah.
on in a while, at least we can see the last place he did.
Yeah, no, I definitely thought about that. I've had conversations with some people about that, and as far as I know, maybe the only people that'd be able to answer that are people like Google. Like if he had a Google, like a Gmail or something like that, or what? I literally don't even know what his email was.
Yeah.
So I mean, but maybe that I'm hoping that I'm sorry, I'm reading the questions. I actually have no idea if he received food stamps or not. I don't know if he was receiving that or not at the time. Um,
Okay.
it's very well possible. I wish that I could give more accurate information about that. I don't actually know. It's something that I've definitely discovered as I've gone through this process is that I'm not very much in control of a whole lot. That a lot of it is very much out of my control, and I've had to deal with that. So um, I can call mental hospitals, I can call the jail or whatever. Some information is public, some is
Right.
not. If most of the time I call places, unless there's paperwork like a missing persons report, which there is now, which is helpful, but I'm still not a police. I'm not in law enforcement, so I don't necessarily have the authority to go about doing that. No one's obligated to give me information without legal documents in hand. So
Okay.
Facebook should have the information of the Wi-Fi network he used to sign into Facebook with. Okay, that is definitely a very helpful tip. I kind of wish I thought about that. Thank you so much for telling me that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will see about pursuing that. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And if anyone else, has any ideas of any other ways we can track anything like that, please let us know, because we'll try to compile everything we can and try it all for sure.
I'm definitely so grateful for every single person that has tried to offer some bit of advice or let me in on something like maybe that I can do to try to help narrow down this process of finding him. So thank you for that, uh, whoever you are. Uh, yeah. Yes,
Is
Navy vet. Yeah, that is exactly that's correct. That
is it
is the area that he
that's
was
the
in.
one you were saying? Okay, I was wondering if
Yes.
that was okay.
Yes, no, that is the area that he was in. Correct. As far as I know. But to be honest, in the middle of winter, I don't know how many people are really staying down in a place like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure in colder weather, it's maybe not as many people down there. Hopefully, I mean, but I understand that's not always the case. It's a hard thing about Chris being down there in that kind of weather, that kind of environment. I know he even told me that he's done that, you know, a few times, and it. My brother is really strong. Chris is really really strong, and I hate it because I didn't want him to live like that. Um, Definitely wanted to try to help him have the best life possible, and just like I can't control the situation, I can't control another person, right? So I've definitely had to learn a lot of lessons about what I can and can't do.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, is if you contacted food stamps, would they be able to tell you? Because then you could
Yeah,
see, has he gotten, because
it. I
here
think it depends on the situation. I mean, they might, and I have encouraged the police, the detective. I mentioned all this when I initially filed his missing person report, just as much information as I possibly could. And I did make sure to mention it's possible he receives food stamp benefits. I don't know. I don't know if he does or not.
Be
I
worth
was
looking
never
into,
privy.
though.
It is worth looking into, and I will definitely try to do that. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else that I really know to share. I wish I did. Chris's last I saw him back in June, his head was shaved. His hair may have grown out a little bit since then. I don't think that he looks blonde like in some of those pictures that you're showing. There's one, I don't know if you saw it or not. It's sort of like a darker background, like a missing persons photo. Yeah, that one. So, yeah, kind of worked on that picture of your mouse on. He looked more like that when I saw him.
Okay.
So that was closer to how he looked. That's why I imagine maybe if it got colder, maybe his hair is a little bit longer. But I'm not 100%. Like it was literally like 6 months before he really went missing since I saw him, and now it's another 6 months down the road. I haven't seen him in about a year this month.
Well,
It's been that long since I've laid eyes on him. So to me, that's very worrying. And
right.
man, I tell you what, through this whole process, just seeing how many missing we really do have in this country, like it is incredible. Thank you, Gene. Chris is beautiful.
They love him in the chat.
Oh, that's
Charles
awesome.
said,
Yeah, Chris is a cutie. Um, love Chris to death. Let me see here. Is there? I'm trying to think if there's anything identifying. Okay, yeah. Okay,
well,
so a
well, yeah.
couple.
Why don't you, go over like he's 6'3", right? Obviously, he's
Right.
thin.
Right. So Chris is pretty tall. He's gotten skinnier. So he's kind of tall and lanky, sort of like what was in that picture. Chris has got a tattoo on his right hand. You can kind of see it maybe in one of those pictures you were just on, but there's one I think I sent you where it's a little bit more obvious. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's an eyeball or something like that. It was really kind of hard to tell.
Trying to see if I can find it.
If like you can't really see very well in that picture you were just on, where he's kind of holding the phone.
Oh, you can see it in that one?
Barely. On my Facebook page, if you look in the post about Chris, I posted a picture of him with it's sort of like a close. If you look at his right hand right there in that picture you were just on the top there, like
Here.
you can see he has a tattoo there. You can't really see in very much detail. There's a much more detailed picture on the Facebook post about him.
Oh, right here, right.
Yeah, I mean, you can barely make it out. So that's an identifying characteristic about Chris. Something else that'll stick out. I'm not sure if I saw it in any of these pictures, but Chris has got like a chipped front tooth. So one of his front teeth is actually chipped in half. Somehow, I'm not even sure how that happened really, but so he's got a chipped front tooth. I know that he has some scars on his upper arm. Okay, so he's got some scars there that might help identify him. Most likely, most likely to be potentially a shaved head, something like that. I mean, that seems to be Chris's style. It's kind of a macho style. Chris has been sort of macho the past few years. That's why it gets confusing for me.
And so I actually was going to say something in relation to that as far as him being macho. Do you think, I asked this only because I'm familiar with it, like I said, it's in my family as well, so I kind of know the process. Was there any struggles with him transitioning? Do you think that could play a part? Obviously, you were accepting of it, but was there anyone who wasn't that would have caused him to maybe get away for a little bit?
I'm not aware of anyone like that necessarily. I think with Chris being a homeless person and interacting with a lot of people in the homeless community, I mean, or just society in general, like Chris definitely earned. Oh, thank you so much, Alyssa. I see you, Broder fam. But as far as I know, Chris had kind of a reputation of not really taking crap from anyone. He's not, like no one went about messing with him, I guess I should say. I mean, he's pretty tough, and
Okay.
I imagine in a situation like that, it's possible that he could have met people he didn't like, people who didn't like him. I mean, you never know, though. I don't know anyone specifically,
Okay.
but I am hoping to learn more about that if someone can tell me more about that. Definitely something I'd like to know. As far as I know, I don't know any enemies that Chris may have had specifically to answer that question.
I was just wondering, because one of the main reasons we do this is to show the pictures, have people looking out for him. So I was wondering if they should be looking for him to maybe be more along the process of transitioning.
No, I would expect him to look more like how you see in the photos that I sent you.
Okay.
Chris has not fully transitioned. Has not, as far as I know, has not committed to any sort of transition therapy with hormones or anything like that.
Okay.
To answer this woman's question, no, Chris did not work. Chris definitely had a hard time with social situations. If he did any work, I mean, he may have done some odd jobs here and there. Chris had a job at Moe's once for 2 days. He couldn't do it more than 2 days. It was just too much for him. And I think that's something interesting to note that Chris kind of represents is that 20, 30 years ago, the level of education and understanding regarding people with any kind of special needs, and in Chris's case, yeah, he was diagnosed when he was 3 years old as a highly functional autistic person.
Okay.
Like, so he's on the spectrum. He's somewhat highly functional, and he's also diagnosed with gender preoccupation. Like, that's what I guess that, I don't know if that's still the correct term or not. I doubt it. But what I will say is, Chris, as he was going through that, I think it's fair to say that all of those fields of information have come a long way in the past 20 or 30 years. And I think society's come a long way with that. I mean, we're still going, but we've come a long way. We're not where we were 20, 30 years ago. So Chris, I think, got the short end of the stick educationally. I think Chris got the short end of the stick. I mean, he was dealt a pretty difficult set of cards to play the game with. He has never had it easy. So, you
think that's why he developed some social issues and stuff because of that?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, people, and I hate to say it, but I witnessed a lot of it. People were very cruel to my brother.
Yeah.
Very cruel to me. Very, the amount of hate that you encounter, it can be overwhelming. I think Chris struggled with that just as much as anyone who may identify the same way as Chris, or I mean, anyone who's a person of color would certainly understand that. Like, so some people are just ignorantly hateful, and so I think that did drastically affect Chris. I think that made it very difficult for Chris to be able to sort of flourish socially at first, but over time, I think it's fair to say Chris became quite a social butterfly. And I think that's something really special about Chris that people should understand. Even when he had nothing, he still affected people's lives in a very positive way. And so, like I said at first, when I first filed that missing persons report, Jason, that first month, when they told me it didn't meet criteria, it really just kind of blew me away.
I've heard that before. Unfortunately, it's awful.
I mean, Chris is not a child. They're not looking for an adolescent. They're not looking for, anyone like that. It's an adult. Chris is an adult, and when adults want to go missing, unfortunately, they can be really good at it. Yeah. But I will strongly say that this, in my opinion, and very much a gut feeling, that's the same reason I've had this feeling since February. I am positive Chris did not just decide to check out, go somewhere, not talk to anyone. I feel very reassured of that alone, at least, because that's not who Chris is. So he would have stayed somewhere comfortable that he could function in.
And we have a lot of people asking questions because obviously we know Bowling Green, but a lot of people asking about his travel history. Is there anywhere else he would go and travel? Some people asking particularly about New Jersey for whatever reason, but is there anywhere else you could think?
I'm sure that Chris may have had friends outside of the state of Kentucky. I'm not as confident that he would have had a long-term situation outside of the state of Kentucky. I don't. I mean, we lived in Evansville for a time, and we certainly know some people over there, some really awesome people, and we but they, if Chris was there, they would have told me, like, basically
Yeah.
anyone that I could think of, anyone that even if I didn't know them, I've tried to reach out to as many of Chris's friends as I can, to anyone who had a connection with Chris, who um who knew him. And I'm really sad to say that I've yet to tell or have anyone tell me, yeah, man, like I just saw Chris. I just talked to him. Um, okay, that's good to know about New York City. I see that comment. Um, yeah, no, absolutely. That's also a good idea too about looking at his phone plan. That's information that I am trying to work on for sure. Like, all that's gonna come to surface hopefully sooner than later.
Okay,
And
good.
it's just that's a process that I can, once again, I don't actually have a say so in how quickly that goes. But that is
Right.
to answer everyone's questions about that is something that is currently underway.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think they're just everyone's trying to think of ideas to throw you to help,
Right. And thank you to everyone for caring enough to tune in and just try to help. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Chris, is Chris close with her parents? Well, maybe not so much my dad. We haven't seen him in a little while, but my mom actually passed away in 2013. She had cancer, so
Sorry to hear that.
she's been gone. She's been gone a while now, and so there's not really any parents like that necessarily to help Chris or me. So that's not really a factor anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. So we
Sorry
just
to
try
hear.
to be there for each other if we can. I mean, my dad cares that my dad's older and he has health issues, and he's not quite there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So he's not really able to help.
Right. Not in a position to. Okay.
No, and that's something frustrating for me as his brother. I love him, and I wanted to help him, and I wanted to give him a space where he could be supported, but I just didn't have that to give either. I had to try to support myself, and life's not gonna cut anyone a break usually, right? So
Right.
that's how it goes. But I'm trying to think if there's any other information I can put forth right now. I mean, is there any other questions you think I haven't touched on that I could
Well, we went over the
talk
friends.
about?
We went over his phone and food. I definitely say look into anything like food, anything that would be something you would consider like necessary for his survival, such as food stamps. Because no matter where he
Absolutely.
goes, he's likely to check it. Anything that if he's on any medications, check pharmacies. Any habits he has that no matter where he went, he would need to kind of stay tuned in with those. Definitely,
Right.
things like that. One thing I want to do. Sorry, I have allergies really bad. That's why my
It's
voice is
okay.
getting.
It's okay. I'm glad to see you're
Yeah.
talking to me. I mean, you said you were feeling pretty rough last week, so
Yeah, I know it's a lot
you
better now. Thank you. But you probably have seen me do this in the other interviews, but I feel like this is a very important part of the interview where I'm going to ask you to speak directly to him. If he happens to be out there and for whatever reason has decided to maybe he's going through something and doesn't want to put you through it, or whatever the reason is that he would be staying away, maybe speak directly to him. Just let him, know what's going on. Let him know how you feel, and just,
okay.
tell things like that.
All right, let me give it a shot then.
Take your time.
Hey, Chris, if you see this, please know that you were loved, that you were missed. There's a lot of people worried about you. We just want to check in on you. We want to see if you're okay. And that's really hard when we haven't heard from you in so long. So even if you see this and you don't want to talk, maybe just let us know you're okay. We love you. If anyone has any information about Chris, they'd like to come forward with that. You can contact me directly on Facebook, Alex Carver. Hi, or you can contact the BGPD, the Bowling Green Police Department in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I'm sure that they can help facilitate that information. Just anybody at all. If you feel the information is useless, if you feel like it's not helpful, it's okay. Still bring it forward, because Chris, if you see this dude, like, we love you, we miss you, like, we really want you to come back. Okay.
Absolutely awesome job. You're doing a great job for your brother. I pray he sees
Thank you.
this and knows how much you care, knows he's not alone, knows how missed he is, and he comes back. We're going to pray for a positive resolution. Now, Angie Marie, True Crime, wants you to know. I can't talk with the allergies. Have you put him into NamUs?
I'm not sure that I've heard NamUs. The only system that I'm aware that he's in is the whatever the national system's called for the missing persons. Like, once I filed the missing persons report, I know that he's in that. I know he's registered in that, but maybe not specifically NamUs. I can look into that. Absolutely. I hadn't heard about that before, so thank you, Miss Angie, for telling me about that.
Yeah, that might be NamUs that you put him in, but yeah, it's worth checking out just to make sure, because it's a great organization.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, everyone's yelling at me to look at someone's specific question. What's the question, guys? Can you say it again? I guess I didn't see it.
Okay.
Little Pookie. Would you help me? There you go. Little Pookie had a question.
Yeah, I'll try to answer all the questions I can.
I did ask that one, guys, but yeah, what is his pattern as far as travel goes? I did ask that. But.
Well, at best, I would say if he did any traveling, it was sporadic and probably more of like, hey, I have an opportunity to get a ride here, so maybe I'll go there. I don't know how Chris structured himself as far as I don't know how he networked as far as getting from one place to another. I know he had a bike for a while. A friend of his had given it to him that knew him. I think her name was Shelly Adwell, which, from what I understand, is a really nice woman who got really close to Chris and gave him a bike at some point. So, I mean, as far as I know, he has no transportation other than that. I don't know if that's even something he still has. I don't know any particular place outside of Bowling Green that Chris would travel to. Like I said, I mean, there's some people that I know in Tennessee, Indiana, things like that. And I've reached out to those people. Unfortunately, they have not seen Chris. And so if I had to hazard a guess, if Chris went anywhere, then there would probably have to be someone letting him come and be there and hang out with him. But I just don't know where Chris is, where Chris has been there 6 months and he ain't used the phone or reached out to anyone. I mean, definitely the sort of person who's on social media talking to people, just a sociable person, as far as online activity is concerned. So I don't know wherever Chris is at. If he just doesn't have Wi-Fi signal, then maybe that's the problem, right? But I don't know. I don't know where exactly where Chris would have gone outside of Bowling Green. I don't know where he would have felt comfortable, or where he would have felt like he had the same kind of support system.
So if he did meet someone he was comfortable going to, you're not really familiar with it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't know any person in particular. I wish I did if he did, but I am not privy to any information like that.
Okay, so remember, before we started, we talked about you're in control. You can answer anything you'd like to. You cannot answer anything if you don't want to. So don't feel any pressure to answer anything that comes up. I do put all questions up because you never know what's going to be helpful.
Right.
But so you have a question here. I'll leave it for you to read it and decide if you'd like to answer it.
As far as I know, this is a hard question to answer, but I will go ahead and answer it. As far as I know, Chris was doing drugs. As far as I know, it's possible that he was doing probably meth.
Okay.
So he could have been on meth. He could have been, I'm not sure where that began and where that ended as far as his drug use, but I know that he had done stuff like that in the past. And for anyone who may have had an experience with a loved one who has done meth, I mean, meth changes you as a person. It makes you act differently.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but meth completely changes the brain chemistry.
Yeah.
of your brain. I mean, your personality changes and everything with prolonged long-term use. So, thank you, Bronson. I see you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thank you. That's an old friend.
Oh, cool.
Old friend of mine, Chris is. But Jason, I just wish I knew where to say, yeah, he may have gone here or whatever. He may have been doing this or that. The only thing that I can speak on that I know for sure that is a fact is that Chris was in Bowling Green, Kentucky, November 25th through
Okay.
into November 26th. And he was fine as of the morning of the 26th. And after he walks out of room in the inn, like we've kind of mentioned on here before, I'd like to know where his last location pinged off of a tower somewhere. I'd like to know that information. I'm eager to learn more about that so I can have a real starting point about where Chris went. And I think that there's going to be more information that's going to come to light, and I really hope that's sooner than later. I guess would it be okay if I reached out to you if there's updated information at that point?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If anything comes up, and if it's a small bit of information that you want me to just like put out a Facebook post, I can do that. If it's something major that you really want to get out there, we can do a whole nother interview. Whatever you think would work best. I'm totally interested.
Absolutely. As
And
soon
I
as
know
soon
it's
as I
kind of a
learned
lot of.
anything.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I know it's kind of a lot of questions. I try to get everyone out there because you never know what's gonna be something that triggers something in your mind, or you never know what's gonna help. That's why we kind of throw a lot at you. So thank you for
Absolutely.
you've done a great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you again for doing this and trying to help spread some awareness about Chris, and really really like what you're doing with your channel here, man.
Thank you so much, Alex. I
Much
appreciate that.
respect.
Guys, so if you're just joining us, so this is Chris Carver. He's from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Okay, he's been missing about 7 or 9 months, is it?
Since November, or since late November.
So
So that's
7.
like 7 months now. We're going on month 7
Okay.
that Chris has not been seen or heard from.
Yeah, he's 6
To
foot
my
3.
knowledge.
I
Yeah,
apologize.
roughly 6'3". I mean, that could be an inaccurate measurement, but I mean, he's pretty tall. He's pretty tall. Definitely model-esque, if you will.
For sure. That's a good perfect word for him. As a fellow tall guy, I'm 6'5", so I know this.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Please, I saw some people saying that they're going to share posters wherever they are. Definitely, absolutely do that. But also, please share on social media. As you know, everybody nowadays is on social media. That's the best place. So no matter where you live, share your poster and maybe just put a little thing asking your friends to also share it. If everybody does that, it'll go everywhere and someone's bound to see it.
Absolutely. And if anyone is looking for a missing persons flyer that they want to use or something like that, I mean, you can look on the post I made about Chris on my Facebook page. There's some pictures I think I sent you of the missing person flyers, and hopefully, maybe we could share that. Hey, I see you. Hi, Shante. But so it's one of those things. Thank you, Miss Annie, for sharing it. Thank you. It's just one of those things, or that might be the easiest way for me to say, yeah, if you guys are trying to find a picture of Chris, yeah, those missing person flyers I sent you are probably the best. As far as I know, they have accurate contact information. I don't know what else to say as far as like if anyone wants to contact me, I'm on Facebook. I'm going to be on Facebook until I find or hear from my brother, or I learn about Chris and what's going on with Chris. It's definitely been a whirlwind the past few months.
If anybody wants to contact Alex, he's in the description, the link to his Facebook page also.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So that's the best way. You could search for him, or you could just open the description. He's right there. So if you're looking for his page, yeah, keep in touch with him, guys. Check in. Maybe ask if you have a tip. Definitely give it to him or the Bowling Green Police, or just check in with him and just see how things are going. And,
I just want to put this out there real quick. I am happy to talk to anyone, anytime. If you want to talk to me, if you think you can help, so please don't be afraid to contact me if you want. Thank you.
Awesome. Alex, I think we'll end it there. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go through some pictures one last time, and if you'd like to say anything else, is there anything I didn't think to ask or the chat didn't think to ask?
I'm not sure offhand, but I just want to thank you guys one more time for taking the time to come here tonight and learn more about Chris. And I'm hoping that with your help, that I can spread the word and maybe let Chris know that he's missed at home.
All right,
Thank you.
you're an amazing advocate for your brother Alex. Thank you so much. It's very clear you love him, and I pray that this brings answers. So just keep in touch with me, man. Let me know, and I'm here for you if you need anything else. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Jason.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Have a great night.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Take care. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Alex did a great job for his brother. Please keep up with this, guys. If you find out anything, if you hear anything, or if you just think of an idea, he's open to being contacted. The link is below in the description, so you can contact Alex. I saw somebody ask if there's a page for Chris. I wasn't able to ask him. I don't know if there's a specific Facebook page, but if you go on Alex's, I'm sure it'll be there if there is one, or maybe we can look into making one to help him out. So if there's anything you can do to help, guys, just contact him, let him know. And that's basically it. And if you're just joining us now, we went over this in the beginning, but please, when you go into the description, after you're done checking out Chris's story and trying to help, also please look at the link that Annie made for Tabitha Maddox, who has been forced to have her right leg amputated due to a doctor's mistake. Please consider looking at the GoFundMe and supporting her as well. And there's a whole story there, so if you want to kind of find out what happened and where Tabitha is at, she could desperately use your help. So please consider checking that out as well. And yeah, guys, just keep in touch, and you can contact me. Any tips that you have, the best place to go is to Alex, of course, and also the police. I also put my information in the description. You could always contact me about something, but I always say, don't just contact me, especially if it's something time sensitive. Because if you send it just to me that you saw Chris or something, and I'm not online for a couple of days, and I don't get it to Alex in time, then that doesn't help. So if you get it to Alex and the police, they'll be able to follow up on it right away. So feel free to send me anything you would like, but just also make sure to send it to Alex as well as the police, whoever you're more comfortable sending it to. All right, guys, thank you so much. I love you all, and we will see you guys in a couple of days with another missing persons interview. So let's come together and let's help bring Chris home. All right, I love you. Hit subscribe below, set the notification bell to all, and you'll be notified every time we go to do another interview. Sorry if I seemed a little off tonight, guys. It was a heck of a start up there. I couldn't get my camera going, so it took a little bit. But all right, guys, take care. Have a great night. Thanks for watching Jason Heber Live.